Welcome to Conversations with Wellifehub. I have with me Pinky Mukwena. I know I always say I'm excited, but this is excitement beyond the kind that you do somersaults. I've got with me, as I said, Pinky Naika, also known as Pinky Mukwena. If you want to check her out on the socials, she's an MC, radio presenter, a founder of Metsiateng, and also a recipient of Mandela Rhodes, doing her PhD in a word that I cannot say. I tried that word. Thank you. Yeah, but she's an environmental scientist, so she's scientist at heart, also a award winner in multiple awards, one of them being Miss F 2021, one of them being Mail and Guardian 200 Young Persons 2022, and the CV goes on and on and on. Currently, she is a presenter on Impact Radio. And basically, I think this is a full circle moment. I was on your show 5 years ago. Was it 5 or 6? Yeah, it must have been because it was before COVID. Sure, yeah. So, So there's the picture of the two of us on the Impact Radio session. And this year also Witness Stand. Which is something that, out of conviction, and I think it's because of where you married and you thought of this witness stand. So for me, I feel like it's a full circle moment. But I want to highlight something to you, Pinky. I don't know if you remember, there was one women's conference a long time ago, a Jugu land long time ago. The three of us, myself, your bridesmaid, Kautsang, and yourself wore Indian outfit. So, yes. So you knew it all along.
Serious?
All along you knew it.
Yeah, maybe I felt it. I
will put it up.
No, I think I remember the picture.
Yes. So
well
done. So you knew this thing.
Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah, it was already in your blood. But anyway, I love also the series that you did, and you were talking about a particular chapter in Siya Kolis's book, Rise, on bravery and how to use sportsmanship in terms of discipline and discipline in terms of our Christ walk. And I think, I draw a lot of wisdom, and it's fortunate the period that I was in that I was able to listen to your show almost every day. And as I said, I draw a lot of wisdom from it. I'm learning a lot. And thank you so much.
Thank you. I feel like you're returning the favor, first of all, because I've always wanted to be on here. And I saw you interviewing everybody. And I'm like, but I invited you to my radio show. Kante, what must I do?
Why didn't you DM me?
Hi, I did.
But anyway.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and also I love the presentation that you had. It was a women's entrepreneur leadership network on reading and leadership.
Yes.
And these are some of your loves, so science, the environment, and reading.
Yes.
And today we are focusing more on the environment because of environment and mental health. So what do you want to say on that?
I mean, you touched on three things. The reading. I think firstly, my love for science stemmed from my love for reading in general. There's no learning scientific concepts without first knowing how to read. So that's firstly how we come across it for me as well. And the events, I think it's an entrepreneurship, women's events where we encourage one another. And they asked me to talk about something that I know has aided me in my journey as a scientist and as an entrepreneur. And I have to say, reading has to be the core thing that has not only made me courageous in pursuing certain things. You read about characters that were, brave. They went out and they did what they had to do, even if society didn't understand it at the time. In fact, for the most part, society only catches on when the thing has succeeded. So I really think they're connected. I think, reading is connected to almost anything that we want to do.
Yeah, I liked, there was something that you said, also you're talking about reading, and this time you were doing a series on, reading the Bible and immersing yourself in the Word. And it gave me so much peace because I know you are an avid reader. So I've never growing up described myself as a reader. My younger sisters, two of them, used to read like nobody's business. It used to irritate me because there will be locked in books. They will be lost in books. And one of my mentees one day, long time ago, asked me, it must have been 7, 8, or 9, asked me to say, do you love reading? I said to them, I don't love reading, but I know that reading is necessary for me to be where I am and to be in leadership and to also grow. So it's a great part of my development. But also, I was doing a writing course earlier on this year, and I said to the people in the writing course, I said, once I had that, that statement, if you want to hide money from a black person, hide it in a book. I was like, I love money. And if it's in the book, I'm going to the book. But you were saying that you were not always a reader, and you had to then cultivate that love for reading. And I think that was encouraging. And I'm hoping it can also be encouraging to many to say, you don't have to be intimidated or think that you need to be a bookworm for you to be reading.
No, absolutely. I think there's a lot that has to be debunked when it comes to the reading life. I told you in conversation in private, but even now I'll say I didn't grow up in a family that read books at night. My husband is that guy and he doesn't like reading now. So I'm just like, you know what, you can't say because I was read to when I was young, I'll become a bookworm. But for me, it started when I learned how to read as a child, and I knew I struggled a little bit with some words. So I'd sit every now and again with a newspaper and make the words out, but it wasn't like a natural pull. Until I think in university, I started exploring reading for fun, not because it's part of my curriculum, whatever, novels and things like that. You start easy with those sorts of things. And it started off as, okay, every day for 5 minutes, I'm going to pin myself to a corner and I'm going to read, even if it bores the life out of me. But the point is to develop the art, right? To develop the muscle. And like, I kid you not, when I say today I read like 5 books a week, it's not even funny. And I enjoy it because that muscle grows in our brains. So yeah, I think anyone can be a reader.
Even now, I was trying to buy you a book, but I was like, I'm sure she has read this one. I'm sure she has read,
if you want to buy me a book, ask me what book I want,
sure.
And I'll tell you.
All right. We and I mean, yes, we're talking about going a little bit into reading, but as I said, one of your loves, the environment. What drew you there? And maybe I just want to say one fact. I mean, in the space of mental health, research has shown over and over again in several studies that green spaces and blue spaces aid mental health. They release the stress. They help you with regulation. They help with anxiety. I mean, I'm even thinking now, whenever I think of reading a book, I think of reading a book under a tree, with birds chirping. Already there, but yeah,
No, I think, so I grew up in Attridgeville. If you know anything about the township life, you know that it's really weird to have people care about cats, rats. Listen, I was always that person. I'd always had like a soft heart towards the little things, the creatures, but trees as well. I found it fascinating. Why do we have trees? Where do they come from? What do they do? Even before I went to school, like primary school, and learned what trees are, even clouds, like why do we have certain types of clouds? Why do they come when they come? What does smog, which is like fog and smoke in the cities, what is it? Where does it come from? So for me, it was always like a natural curiosity towards how things work naturally. And I think as I grew, I was surrounded by people that said, hey, you should consider studying environmental science or something like that. And upon going into it, then I realized, man, this is all like very deep. From, like I used to save rats. I'm not even kidding. Whenever my family tried to poison, like it hurt me so deeply. And so studying it,
the inhumane way in which we get rid of rats in the township versus bringing in owls, and was it in that other township where they tried to bring in owls, but because of what owls represent to Black people in terms of
so even that, right, like superstitious things that we have about creatures in general, cats, like Black cats are assaulted in the world. But anyway, yeah, so for me, it came from home, seeing what I was seeing, then studying what I studied. And I think right now, my main focus is chemistry. Even my PhD at Kent, it will be in chemistry. Because now I'm like, I understand the natural world. Let's understand the things beneath.
I know there was a molecular something in your PhD.
Let's understand the molecular components of everything. Every single one of us is chemistry. You're made of chemistry. I am. The tree is chemistry. And so I think understanding not only the outside, but the inside of everything, tea, whatever, is my focus now. But I think it started Vele with the big things. And the older you get, you zoom in. It's a funnel. And I want to understand the depths of the thing. So, yeah.
And as you said, we're all molecule. And, that little part. And I think somehow it also humbles you to know that you're made of those tiny of it.
It's good.
Yeah. So I'm hearing that it came from wonder, which I know it's also one of the ways in which I describe you.
Yes.
Part of it whimsical, but also some part of it about wonder.
Yes.
Whenever I look at the sunset, or yesterday it was a full moon, I think of the wonder. And somehow I also look at it through your lens, by the way. Like that curiosity, that wonder, the wonder of a child. There's a concept in psychology, but also in the environment, be it the physical environment, the infrastructure. We talk about eco-anxiety. If you have come across it and what you make of it, from a psychological point of view, obviously it's about human beings being more and more anxious about climate change, drastic climate change. We take for granted what a clean city can do and how far it can go.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Kigali, it turned around in terms of economy because it's clean.
Yeah.
And people cannot put the two and two to say, if we are not littering, we are actually driving the economy, which economy impacts on our livelihood and our well-being.
Yeah.
And so, talk to that ecosystem, be it that you take it from the eco-anxiety or the overall exchange of our beings.
Yeah. So one of the main things you learn as an environmental scientist is this concept called sustainability. So it's this idea of driving economic change or environmental societal growth without compromising the environment. So it's recognizing that everything that we do, whether to drive economic growth as a country, we're a third world, how do we grow South Africa, the fourth industrial revolution, all these different concepts that we're trying to put together in order to drive forward our nation. In what ways is it impacting the environment, right? And that's where we talk about the climate change, we talk about littering, plastic-free Julys, and the different concepts that are brought forward to protect. I say it in inverted commas because I feel like it's also preservation. But yeah, so sustainability is that idea of we develop today, we eat today, we live today, we are well today, but we don't compromise the next generation's ability to be the same. And so even with eco-anxiety, I didn't know about it until you told me about it, by the way. But I feel to an extent it's what drove I didn't know the term, but my hurt whenever like something in nature falls apart, because the truth is everything is connected. Without the bee, you will not have the tree. Without the tree, you will not have food. Without food, it falls. So there's no working through the economy without earth. And so I think the eco-anxiety may actually be something we need as well, because we can be quite desensitized from these things. Be like, guys, it's been falling apart for years, or our parents drank the same water or whatever, therefore we're not going to do anything about it. But I think when we are not proactive, that's when danger comes in, and our eco-anxiety, if I'm understanding it correctly, can drive us in one way or another to ask ourselves the questions that we should ask, like, okay, what am I doing to contribute to the issues in society? What can I do to make sure that I minimize some of the impacts? So I'm seeing it like that, because I know you, as a psychologist, you will help us with the other things that we shouldn't have associated with eco-anxiety. But yeah, I think it can be a driving emotion, if you'll so call it.
And I also came across the concept of, ecotherapy, which is what we're talking about. what does being by the sea do to you? I think you said there was a caption, I think sea therapy or sea vitamin C, and obviously with an SEA, because you are by the sea. You're taking in the waves, which have a calming effect. As I said, the hummingbirds. If you don't have trees, you're not gonna hear the hummingbirds. The students, not cricket.
Jiminy cricket. It is a cricket. Yes, students.
They tell you it's night. They almost lull you into the evening. The bullfrogs, if you are in, water, wetlands, so it contributes so much into our well-being. And I think as an activist, I would like for you to speak into that, because I talk to what it does for us. What is the therapy that is in nature, that is in green spaces and blue spaces? And as an activist, how do you now mobilize us to not only be preserving and conserving, but looking at sustainability? And I like that differentiation.
Sure, it's so good. I think, Sesinkateko, and this is something I've been thinking about, I'm trying to practice silence more, because I think as city-dwelling people, there's certain rhythms that are embedded within our very bodies, right? Like you think of the wave at the sea, it's an ebb and a flow, which is like how some philosophers describe our lives. We're made up of highs and lows, you're breathing in and breathing out. There's certain rhythms that are embedded within us that actually aid us in the well-being.
That are in nature.
That are in nature.
That are only found in nature.
Yes.
That are not found in a honking
you will
car,
not find,
that are not found in a beat of a music, that are found in nature.
Yeah, in the quietness of nature as well. And so, I love that hiking has become a thing these days. There's so much that people do in order to...
Can you please speak to people who hike and litter? Like, why do you go...
I actually wanted to go there.
No. Why do you go hiking if you're going to litter? Like, please. Yes, we know you have to have energy drink, it irritates me. I even stopped going to certain hiking spots because
of that. Yeah. So I wonder sometimes if it's ignorance, but also laziness. We are quite unintentional sometimes as city dwellers.
So I even got angry. My
you did well.
Changed,
you did well. I'm learning to not be as angry because people don't hear me when I'm angry. So I look them in the eye and I say, please stop. It's not cool. But yeah, I actually wanted to speak into that. We go into these natural spaces that are meant to edify us, as you've said, our ecotherapy. But then our lack of consciousness, a lack of intentionality is what makes you just throw away your can without thinking about it, not thinking about the decomposition of the can or the plastic, how long it will be in the environment, not only aesthetically, but like functionally, like what does it do to the environment? For my master's, I studied water chemistry and found these new set of pollutants that never existed. They cannot be cleaned in the ways that we clean water.
And that is why it's not even safe to eat any fish without scales, because it cannot filter the mercury and all those
so those sorts of things. It's like what we do to earth comes back to us in one way or another. So with the water pollution thing, it's chemicals that we use, like I don't even want to mention them, because it's certain things that we use, right? And it leaches into our water systems. It doesn't get cleaned the way it should, and then it comes back to us and makes us sick. Some of it causes cancer and a few conditions that we know. So I think, speaking back into the ecotherapy, I think there's a relational give and take with earth and how we treat it. So it starts with something as simple as pollution. It starts with understanding energy. How is energy produced? What do we need? Okay, is it wise for me to let my car that releases exhaust to go out into the... Everything is connected. I feel like we don't even have enough time, but I don't want to bore the people. But yeah, I think being an activist isn't just for the environmental scientists. We all live on Earth. We all need to survive. We all need to be thinking sustainability. Our children, our children's children, our children's children's children Yes, we could say the earth has been around for so long, but will it still be in the same quality? Will it be good for them? Will the air that they breathe be good for them? Some of the movies that jar us into like thinking again, like Tomorrowland, The Matrix, and all those, in many ways, I feel they are environmentally driven to make us become aware of our own actions that ruin things.
Yeah. And I think ultimately it's really about being conscious, even if you are unable to be an activist, hardcore like ourselves, where you've got three coded bins.
Listen.
The bin for compost, the bin for plastic, the bin for paper, and recycling and whatever. Even if you are not that hardcore, what can you do, such as, picking litter after yourself? But when we're talking about what can we do, can you just help me a little bit, just give me a hand? And I know it's quite uncommon to present something during, but this particular one will need to present it. So just
bear with you.
Let's come around, maybe. Okay, there we go. Thank God for the long arms.
Hey.
Thank God for the long arms.
You have always been taller than the rest.
Okay, pink, it's obvious.
Yes.
But,
ooh.
Yes.
Wow.
I know.
Okay, I don't want to get excited. Is it for me?
It is for you.
I get too excited.
It is for you. And as I said, we don't usually open gifts or whatever, but you know what's the meaning of this inside the basket.
Yes.
But I want to speak about the basket.
Yes, I figured.
Yes. So this is.
Hey, most creative.
I know. So I thought, firstly, this is recycled material. I love them. I mean, as you can see, this is from them. Wow. This is recycled PVC.
Sure.
Imagine, PVC is plastic.
Yes.
And now this is durable and it's waterproof.
Yes.
There's that mirror thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Different things. There's different products that can be upcycled and reused in one way or another. And I think as a society, we're not incredibly, I think because we think bigger is better, the American dream. If I've made it, then I must get new things. It's not necessary. Some of the things that our grandparents did are actually very environmentally sustainable.
The plastic mats.
Exactly. And it's why they made it this far. It's why the planet made it this far. But this script is really cool.
And I thought, because it's portable and in terms of your journey as well. I mean, the South Africa. And even their story as sisters as well.
I've met them.
As
They're
a business.
Really cool.
Yes, very much. So I thought, that will be, and the content, what is the meaning.
And we can encourage our friends who are watching to consider even it starts small. It's with the ways that you give your gifts, the things that you give your gifts in. It's the way you use your water, where you buy. It doesn't have to be super expensive. But I think taking care of the planet is just as simple. Being conscious of what's around you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For being so generous with your time.
Yeah.
To being here and parting shots in terms of your journey ahead. And, as I said, parting shot as well in terms of what you feel we can all do and all participate. And how we can rally together, maybe even projects that you know of. You can mention them, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5.
Wow, there's quite a lot. I'm thinking from an environmental point of view, being in support of organizations that are all about environmental advocacies. I'll actually think of a few and list them on the notes. But something as simple as organizing cleanups in your community, something as simple as remembering to switch the lights off when you leave a room. We've had load shedding in South Africa. We know the drill. Closing taps. If you have leaking taps, be aware of it. If your car's exhaust is fuming, be conscious of it. It's always the little things I find, and not being super big on buying new clothes all the time. You can give them away, thrifting, guys.
It's not necessary.
How do I look with my thrifted outfits?
I will not even have told.
Exactly. So things like that. I think it's very simple. But people can follow me on my socials. I actually am thinking to become more active in that regard. But thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So it was wonderful. And thank you very much for joining us. And I hope you can do your bit But also, if you want to learn a little bit more about ecotherapy and whatever has been causing you to be unsettled, you are welcome to speak to us. Until next time, or until this time, until next time, we'll see you next time. That way.